Listen to this bit.
And dies, fall out of love. Sometimes two homes are better than one. Sometimes you can't tell your sister cause she's...
Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. I apologize, the channel's been a bit dead lately as I've been busy traveling and haven't had too much time to make tutorials. It's been mainly covers, but I'm back home for the summer, as you can see at this terrible excuse for a desk, and getting back into it. So about 2 videos a week, switching off with covers and tutorials. So today I wanted to make a quick video because I've gotten a couple requests on how I record and mix my guitar in my covers, specifically acoustic guitar. So I wanted to share that with you guys today. And this is, again, for covers. This is not how to record guitar all the time. So I actually record all my guitars direct into Logic through an interface. This is a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. You can see on the front it's got 2 inputs. So I usually have my guitar going through the second one and then my microphone going through the first one, recording simultaneously. And of course my microphone has an external preamp that I use, but the guitar goes straight in. Set my gain setting here, and it's all good to go. I send that directly into Logic, and then I do some processing in Logic after I record the video and send that out. So I'm gonna hop onto the computer here. I'm gonna record a bit of guitar with my Taylor T5Z Pro, and we'll go through mixing it a little bit. The effects that we're going to use today are EQ, compression, and a little bit of reverb. So those are the 3 main effects that I use on my guitar and my vocals for all of my covers. So let's get into it.
Alrighty, so here we are in Logic. On the top I have my isolated guitar track, and then on the bottom I have some vocals. These are from a cover that I did. I just want to note that even though this is done in Logic Pro X, the effects that we're going to be using are pretty general, and you can find them in free programs like GarageBand or Reaper, and you can find them in any other DAW. They're there. So don't think that you're confined to only using Logic Pro to do this. So let me play back the just unedited guitar track for you. So you'll notice down in the bottom left, the maximum amplitude of the guitar track before editing is about -12. I try to keep that between -12 and -9 dB, so I have some room to turn it up, turn it down, and compress it. So first step, we're going to add some EQ to this guitar track. Now your EQ on every single guitar and every single recording is going to be different. So there's not one, main template of EQ that you can use for your instrument, because everything's going to change. So in this instance, I feel like my treble on my guitar was turned up a little bit too high. So let's just open up our channel EQ. So I already have a little EQ in here that I was messing with. So I'm essentially going to play with some different sounds here so you guys can hear it. I'm going to turn down the bass just a tiny bit, turn up the mids because it's lacking there, and then turn down the treble. Let's see what that sounds like. So it kind of sounds a little like megaphone-ish. It's a little bit too much in the mids. This is very, very light EQ. Let's just go the opposite. Let's turn up the bass, pull down the mids, and turn up the treble. So you may prefer that sound better. This is totally up to you and the style of music that you're playing and what you want to make it sound like. But the point being here is that you can use your EQ to sculpt out a lot of your sound, and you don't need fancy equipment and fancy guitars to get the sound that you want. Sometimes messing with the EQ a little bit more than you think is great. So let's just go back to where I had it for now and bring up the mids a little bit. All right. And the last note with the EQ, just really quickly, I often turn down my treble because I find that most of my listeners and my viewers are on mobile devices. Now obviously if you're on a mobile device, you're probably not listening through a loud speaker system, or maybe you're listening through headphones, but oftentimes they'll lack bass and they'll be really treble heavy. So I turn down the treble so it kind of evens out that listening field for the mobile listeners. This is just something that I do that I wanted to pass on. So now that we've done our EQ here, let's go ahead and throw in a compressor. And with the compressor, we're really not going to compress that much because this is a pretty quiet song. But let's just listen to it with it on. So I get this kind of clicking sound from slapping my strings, and sometimes it can be really loud, and you can see it here in the waveform. These peaks are from the slapping noise. So I actually put on a really quick attack and just set the ratio or the threshold really low. So you're only seeing about 2 to 3 dB of 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction during those slaps, and I'm just turning it up a little bit. So I have it turned down here, just to kind of get it to a level that I would like. Minimal compression. That sometimes isn't even necessary. Sometimes if your guitar track is too loud out the gate, you can use that to turn it down. And now moving on to the reverb, which is my favorite part. This is where you can really start to play with your sound and get a unique sound that you like. Let's just pretend, some people think, okay, a lot of reverb is better. A big long haul, it sounds really good. So let's just go long reverb and turn it up, see what it sounds like. So it may sound really cool and unique considering it's just coming from an acoustic guitar, but what we're losing a lot of our important frequencies, and it's all becoming muddled and really long, and we don't want that. So let's go the opposite direction and just throw on a really small space, like a small hall. So now it sounds like we're in a really tiny room, and you might like that for your specific purpose, but I don't care for it too much. So let's go somewhere in the middle. Actually, Logic has a reverb that I like. It's under halls, and it's called Small Guitar Hall. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So this is actually the reverb that you hear on almost all of my covers. Not on the vocals, but just on the guitar. So another thing that you can do in your reverb is you can EQ your reverb. Say it's becoming too boomy on the low end, or the slaps are too loud. You can actually take down the high end of your reverb. But you want to be careful, because anytime you're pulling a lot of high end out or making drastic changes to your EQ, it can muddle your sound, remove those frequencies that we need. So very slight adjustments is better. All right, and that is it. That is it for my guitar. In any of the videos you guys see, that is how much effects are being done, and that is how I get the sound that I do. So the important thing really here is EQ and reverb. Like I said, you can find these in free programs. So just for fun, let's throw on the vocals here. Turn on our effects on the vocals, and let's listen to this bit.
And diets fall out of love. Sometimes two homes are better than one. Sometimes you can't tell your sister 'cause she's still too young. Yes.
So there you go. That's pretty much the whole entire cover right there. And you'll notice in the left, it's not going above -5, -6 dB altogether. And that's because if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that you never want to go past this threshold in the mix, so that when you master it, you can turn up all of your levels and get it to that that radio level amplitude that you desire. So if you want to know more about that, check a link in the description to one of my older videos on gain staging. You can get that information. But I hope you guys enjoy. Happy recording, and I hope to hear some of your covers soon. So if you have any, please link them down below in the comments, and I'll check it out. Have a good week, guys, and I will see you this weekend.